presentation mode. I don't know what's taking it so long, but you're being muted out. And my name is Phyllis Nash. I am your Chief Sales Officer here at Wakana, one of the four co-founders. And it's a gloomy, overcast day in Chicago, raining. But guess what? We still got sunshine inside. And that's what we do here when we wake up to Wakana with our CEO and visionary. I'm going to get on out of the way so she can come on up and start. I see a few people have not been muted. I'm going to help that process along. But this young lady I've been knowing now over 17 years. God, time really does pass quickly. But yeah, she made an impact the very first day I met her. I guess the day before she had fired her boss. Who on the line knows someone that fired their boss in corporate America, making six figures, company car, corner office, but guess what? It wasn't serving her. And she is not one of those to accept just anything. She wants the best. She's willing to take chances, and she knows she can go out and do whatever she needs to make her life complete. And that's what she did. She sets that example every day. She became MVP of at three companies, built teams in over 46 countries, guys, pivoted when asked to become a cannabis CEO of another company. And this was something totally out of her element, but she's not scared to mix the water. She wanted to see, and oh, did she see. And then a few years later, 2019, Wakana was born. And here we are almost 4 years later on the 20th of April. And guess what, guys? You have the opportunity to be involved. It's something that is the biggest thing that's going to be in the company and changing lives and creating legacy, freedom, and health here at Wakana, soon to be Akana. Melissa Boston, are you out there?
Phyllis Nash, I am out here. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Awesome. Oh my goodness. I tell you what, Phyllis, I am just still kind of, what do you call it, on cloud nine, trying to come down because it was such an amazing, just heartfelt weekend. And so I want to first and foremost say, good morning, good morning, good morning. Thank each and every one of you for waking up with us. To Wakana and Phyllis, thank you for all that you do. I mean, every single Monday. I mean, Phyllis, you're here, so gracious, so humble, welcoming all of our callers, being so the hostess with the mostest. But let me tell you guys, this is our first diamond, our first double diamond, our midwife, helping all of us give birth to unlimited possibilities. And I'm telling you what, Phyllis, we went from strangers to business partners, friends, and now family. Love you to the moon and back, girl. You are just the bomb.com. Thank you for being the phenomenal Phyllis that you are, because I'm telling you what, you are part of this amazing, magical weekend. And I just, again, appreciate you for all that you do. And let me tell you something, guys. You know, there was this special surprise. I know many of you are seeing the footage on Facebook. I can't wait to get on Facebook. I haven't even had a chance to get on Facebook and dig out all the photos, but it was really just an awesome weekend as I'm not yet, I'm still 49, okay? I turn 50 tomorrow. What did Dan say? A half a century, 5 decades, 2 scores and 10 years, right? But I am just so excited to be a part of such a phenomenal community that is so thoughtful, so loving, so caring. And I do want to read our mission and vision before I go through some of the details, so let me not get too sidetracked, right? But our mission, and I'm going to read our mission for Wakana, because guess what? We are still Wakana, soon to be Akana, and we cannot wait to roll out everything that we have put together for each and every one of you so we can take over the world, guys. But our vision is we exist to help end the negative stigma that has caused communities around the world to suffer and lose out on the health and wealth benefits of the cannabis plant. Our mission is we are the catalyst to stir a movement that inspires people to confidently move into the legal space as entrepreneurs, formulators, and investors, evoking the courage and strength of people to take back their health, wealth, legacy, and freedom. And so what I want to do this morning, oh my goodness, just give a big shout out, okay, to everyone who was involved, who participated in any way in surprising me. I've always kind of got my hands in a lot. So it's hard to kind of pull something over my eyes, guys. And so I knew something was going on, but then I didn't know. And it was just kind of like one of those moments where I was like, okay, let me just go ahead and enjoy what my husband's put together. We were on our way to this restaurant, got sidetracked. And before I knew it, I was standing in front of 50 people. And I want to apologize in advance because I know not everyone was able to get invited. My husband said he apologizes because he had to limit it to 50 people. He said if it was up to him where he could really expand it, because our facility obviously can't hold everybody. He said he would have invited all of Wakanda Nation, okay? He said but the guest list had to be 50, okay? And so just know that you all are in our hearts and our thoughts, and we love everyone. And for those of you who traveled from out of town, oh my goodness, to see our phenomenal team from Texas. I mean, it was Gigi from Dallas, then Dr. Roz and Adrian came all the way from Houston, our South Carolina, Kathy Weathersby, Atlanta, Georgia, Christian Phillips and Larice Rivers. And then, of course, we had our Indiana crew that came and showed up and showed out. So Jeff, Carla, Marcella, Rochelle. I mean, oh my goodness, it was just so amazing. And then, of course, we had our local group. We had not only was Shannon, the event coordinator, who my husband behind my back has been working for the last few weeks. Okay. In fact, he said since January, okay, since our New Year's party, they've been plotting this, guys, okay, without me knowing any of this. I mean, can you believe that, right? Then he pulls in Phyllis and all the team, and everybody kind of does this thing behind my back, right? I'm not knowing all this. Staff is telling me, hey, we can't help you with this or that. Didn't know it's because they're all on flights heading here, okay? And so that was just, again, amazing. My mom, okay, who, she's had some health challenges, so just to know that she was able to participate and be present in the moment. My sister Becca and her boyfriend Jeff, they came in from pretty much, you could say, out of state because it's a 6-hour drive. I mean, they live in the Boot Hills in Southern Illinois because, yes, I am from the country of Illinois, right? We say that it's kind of like the country area, right? And so, again, just for them to pull it off and then to see all my local people that I'm talking to every single day. I'm not going to name everybody's name at this point now because I know Chicago was obviously the biggest part of the night, and I do not want to leave anyone's name off. But all I can do is say thank you to the Diamonds and Emeralds that participated, some other staff members that participated here locally, some of our other team. These are a lot of the people that I talk to on a daily basis. Like a lot of times in this business, you're talking to your team, of course, your corporate team, but there's also distributors, right? That they become the counsel for the company, right? So you're dealing with a lot of phenomenal leaders who are really helping to shape the vision and goal. And they really nailed it and really kind of, they had to narrow it down, right? So they narrowed it down to that crew and they knew it was because my husband said, hey, Shannon and all the team, you guys know, right? You know who is really there on a daily basis helping and, working with our CEO. Just let that be the crowd that comes for this. And the next time we do it, we'll blow it out big, okay? But the bottom line, I just want to give a heartfelt, sincere gratitude. And one of the things I will say, being in that moment of, being in front of everyone and everyone pouring into me, I want to say too, when I think about, my own story, because my husband gave, his version of our story of how we met and just so much heartfelt sentiment, right? And I thought about my mom sitting next to me, guys. And as I thought about my mom sitting next to me, it also made me think about my grandfather. And my grandfather turns 95 this year. So we're all celebrating him in about, another month, I think, on March 25th. Yeah, so another month, we're going to be celebrating 95 years for my grandfather. My husband mentioned my grandfather. He said, oh, my God, I just love him so much. He's one of my husband's favorite people. My grandfather is a pretty remarkable man, okay? And so, but when I was sitting there looking at my mom and just thinking about, as everyone was pouring in and just kind of sharing about me, I thought about my mom. I thought about my grandfather and their work ethic. I thought about my grandmother who passed in 2020. And I really thought about her humility, right? She was always teaching us just to stay humble, right? Stay humble, just put your head down, stay humble, serve people, because that's what she did her whole life. She was a community leader. She was always in a service mindset. And it just always it rubbed off on me. It was one of those things where it just really made an impact on me because my grandma, for most of you who know, she was always my shero, right? She was the rock star in my life, the woman who, outside my mom, right, who was there for me every single day. And so I come from such humble beginnings, right? And so I'm sitting there at this table, and you have to imagine this table they created, because all the time we're talking about building a table, right? Building a table. And when I think about my humble beginnings, I think about the fact that my mom became a single mom. You know, she divorced early, and then I became a single mom, and all the things we went through, the struggle, the fact that she worked at a factory, right, making comic books and went through so much, walking every day on that concrete, right? So some of those health challenges extends from the fact that guess what? She sacrificed her body for her family, right? As we live there, you know, trying to make do, right? Trying to make the rent, right? Just literally trying to get by. And the bottom line, you know, as I'm thinking about this moment and everybody pointing to me, you know, I really have to, again, give that gratitude to the fact that, yes, you know, as my husband said, you're coming from good stock help. So when you have those role models, people who teach you, you know, how to get up and work every day. And my grandfather is another example of work ethic. I mean, my grandfather worked so hard. He worked until he actually got cancer. And so my grandmother, fortunately, they were always proactive with their health. So they were able to eradicate that cancer. It went away, and guess what? He went back to work, okay? And then finally, my grandmother forced him to retire because he just was working. In fact, he would be working right now, okay, if the family would let him. He still drives. Every year he passes his exam. In fact, he just took an exam for driving in the severe rain and weather. But he said, no, I'm taking it today. It's not going to delay him. He took that exam and aced it, okay? He said, but this is his last year. He's going to give up driving. But the bottom line is, like, that's what I witnessed my whole life, right? These wonderful human beings, you know, out there sacrificing so much for us, you know, knowing that it was a struggle, knowing that it was tough. And then when I, as a single mom, you know, witnessed my son, right, out there sacrificing his body for his family, his health for his family. You know, he's sitting there working in a, you know, it was I wouldn't say a factory because it was like a manufacturing plant, I guess, where they were under the ground. They were oftentimes in these big machines, and they had to go to school for that. It was a trade school. But the bottom line, yeah, you can make a lot of money, but what does it matter if it comes at the sacrifice of a limb, if it comes at the sacrifice of losing your life? And people, when I learned that people in his plant, you know, were losing lives, right? They were losing limbs. You know, for me as a mom, it just crushed me. It's like, what the heck? You know, you feel like, you know, all your life, you know, you grow up, you want your kids to be happy and whole and successful. And he was successful. He had a beautiful family. You know, he had all the things you thought, you know, they were homeowners, right? But at the end of the day, what does it matter if we put our health on the line, if we sacrifice our bodies? And the fact that we were able to create something like Wakana, we were able to build this table. And as I sat at that table on Saturday night, and as I looked around and I thought about, wow, you know, this is so powerful because Wakana started with a thought. It started with the thought of a name at the time in which I didn't even know the meaning of that name, right? It was a name Wakana that was given to me on an airplane. At the time, I was still the CEO for another company. But at the time, you know, I was always collecting names. One of the things about me, I'm one of those creative type people. I'm always thinking about ideas. And when I do, I tend to try to find out, does anyone else have this idea? So I'll go to different places and I'll search out the name. And so when I thought Wakana, I said, surely someone else has thought about Wakana. You know, we live in a planet of 7 billion people. Is this God's gift to me? And so when I went and it was available, I was able to get it for less than $12, right? At the time, again, it wasn't a company. It was just a thought. It was a thought. It was an idea. But again, that comes with that action of taking action, right? We have to take action when we have those thoughts because guess what? They say your thoughts bring energy into the world. They say your thoughts can affect the next person beside you. We've learned that, right, through our wellness coaching, that our thoughts are things, and not only things, but our thoughts are energy. And that energy that you bring even in your mind can impact others. So that's why when you have ideas, you have to act on it. Many of you tell me all the time, you had various ideas that could have been inventions, but again, your thoughts were things. So someone probably picked up on your energy, and before you know it, that idea that you didn't act on was acted on by someone else. And so I knew in that moment I had to be intentional. And as the flight attendant was saying, we got to shut those doors. You know, we're about to turn the phones down, right? I'm frantically online trying to secure this name, right? I'm typing, trying to put my credit card in, and boom, I have the name. But again, it was still just a thought, but at least now I owned a part of that thought. We still had to get it trademarked, right? But at least the beginning stage was done. Got on that flight, went to Colombia, was able to celebrate the life of someone so dear to me. Her mother had passed, and that's Kathy Weathers. We was able to celebrate her life of her mom. Went back, and again, it was just a thought. It hadn't yet manifested as an idea for a business. And then before you know it, things started to shift with that other company. And I talked to the owner, He gave us his blessing. He said, you know what, go do your thing, right? Because we just had all these ideas in us, right? And we knew that we were on different pages. And so within 45 days, and this is when you know something is blessed in the hands of God, because within 45 days, we took a thought, we took an idea, we took a word that literally hadn't even existed as a business anywhere in the world and literally made it our business, okay? Launched Wakana. You know, the first year, over $1 million in sales, and we only had, about 7 months to run it. And a lot of opposition we were up against, okay? A lot of opposition, guys. But the bottom line, it's amazing what you can do when you build your table with the right people. When I think about how we built that initial table, okay, you think about the fact that the first person I called was Phyllis Nash, because I knew that Phyllis had to be a major part of this. And guess what? Phyllis was our pillar of freedom. Phyllis became our chief sales officer, one of the owners of the company, guys. This is our midwife. She's working with our diamonds, emeralds, rubies, helping everyone give birth to unlimited possibilities. And then as soon as me and Phyllis talked, the next conversation was, gotta call Dr. Rita. Let's get Dr. Rita on the phone. Let's see if she's in. Contacted Dr. Rita, because we understood we had to have products that not only had integrity, but someone who could actually look at them from a compliance point of view. We knew that her expertise would be critical, bringing in the right staff. And guess what? Dr. Rita became our pillar of health. You know, she became our chief medical officer. And guess what? That's that third leg at the table. And then when you think about the fourth leg at the table, you think about wealth. You think about money. You think about financial freedom. You think about mindset. And one of the things we knew about Dr. Pat, you know, she asked the state senator, but also too, she had that wealthy mindset, right? Her classes, the teachings and the trainings. And she was actually a part of that other company as well. Dr. Rita had brought her in. And let me just tell you this, guys, we were like, okay, a little bit nervous about Dr. Pat. We didn't know for sure she was going to see the vision, because she was not aware that we were even thinking about anything, okay? Because she wasn't as plugged in as the rest of us. So we kind of knew, you know, the writing was on the wall. It was time to shift. But when we contacted her and she said, I am in, we knew we had something, guys. We had built the first portion of our table, and now it became about putting people around that table, building a company with a fair compensation plan, building a company with a system and a website that could deliver all the things we dreamed about, building a company that offered a compliance and all the different testings that we wanted to make sure that our product was pure. You know, when you hear people like Christian and he talks about, hey, we don't just do your COA. We don't just test for your THC. Our test actually tests for 13 different things, right? 13 different things, guys. And that is unheard of, because typically it's the big companies doing that. It's not the mom and pops, and it's not the stuff that's at the gas station, guys. And so just to know that we separated our brand to build something really special. But now we have these 4 legs. What else was next, right? We had to build out our corporate staff. And I'm so grateful for the corporate staff. Many of you are here with us from day one. You started with us day one, and many of you were there on Saturday. And it was so beautiful to see all your faces, the love and the support. But that's really what it took to get that foundation started. But guess what? That's a staff. You know, what else are you going to need outside of your staff? Okay, you're going to need a team. You're going to need diamonds and emeralds. You're going to need distributors. And just to look now and to recognize, wow, you know, we, of course, as pillars, all of us became diamonds because we wanted to make sure that we built a comp plan that worked. And what's the best way to test that comp plan than to go out and build it? So that was one of the criteria. We didn't want to give us big corporate salaries. No, we were making minimum wage, guys, to do this, okay? Minimum wage. But what we knew is that we went out there and we rocked that comp plan. We knew that if we could do it, we can teach other people to do it. And that's exactly what we did. All the pillars became diamonds. 3 of us became double diamonds, guys. So we understood the comp plan works. It's phenomenal. But guess what? Now it's time to create diamonds. If we're the only diamonds, guys, that's not a duplicatable system. But once we see a sea of diamonds, then we know we've created something special. And before you know it, Beverly Blair, right, Lad Thomas, right, they became our very first diamonds. You see their pictures on the wall. And so guess what? That table is now being filled, right? And then next thing you know, we meet Willie and Ann. At the time, it was Ann Hawkins, but Willie Mooney, Ann Hawkins, who became Willie and Ann Mooney, guys. And at the time, as Willie talks about all the time, there's only 5 people in that room. And who would have guessed, right? That meeting would have turned into Diamond Mooney, right? The Diamond Moonies, okay? And so they're that next set of diamonds at the table, right? Bringing, millions of dollars of revenue, right? Just like Devin Lab. And then before you know it, guess what, guys? We started seeing these emeralds and the rubies. We started creating the sapphires, right? And so all the different things started happening. And now when you look at what happened this past November, the more diamonds we start putting around that table, guys, what that means, we're building a strong foundation. We're building a solid foundation. We're building a table now with multiple legs, multiple roots. And once we do that, we understand this is going to be like a bamboo tree. Yes, we've taken those first 2 years to build the initial infrastructure. The second 2 years kind of mirrored that. But now these next 3 years, guys, we're going to build a skyrocket, this time busting through the top, because when you recognize, wow, look at the diamonds that came. Look at the fact that we have the G.G. Harris, right? We have Bernadine Kirkland. We have Terry Anderson, right? I mean, when you start thinking about what happened over this last year, seeing so many brand new diamonds hit, guys, that is absolutely unprecedented. That is absolutely exciting. And we understand that we're going to build something even bigger and better, because when you start seeing teams having multiple legs of diamonds. So when you think about the Beverly Blair, guess what? With the Willie Mooney comes through where? Beverly Blair. When you think about Dr. Rita, Phyllis Nash, and you think about the fact that that's also part of the group, right? And then you think about Terry Anderson, right? Under the Dr. Rita leg, right? And then you think about G.G. Harris, okay? And then you think about Bernadine. That's a multiple layer of diamonds, guys. And that's when it starts to get truly exciting, because what that means is if they can do it, each and every one of you can do this, guys. And that is so exciting. And so the bottom line is we dreamed about this table. We looked at the fact that there were so many inequalities out there, right? They were not building a level playing field. The fact that we spent hundreds of thousands of dollars trying to get into the legal space. The fact that we had a perfect score and still got denied. But even in 2017, when I first said yes to be the CEO of the other company, we were ahead of the market shift. We were ahead of the trend. And so what we recognized when we built Wakana is whether or not they ever decide to invite us to their table, we could build our own. And when we build our own table and now we put people at that table, we're building a level playing field. Because here's the bottom line. In so many companies, yes, they build a table, but guess what? You never get invited to that table. Because guess what? It's not set up for the average person to win. It's set up for the top 1%. See, our diamonds, our double diamonds make phenomenal income. But the reason why we were a little bit conservative on their income, because here's what most companies do. Most companies stack all the money into the double diamonds, the triple diamonds, and then there's a little bit left for the emeralds. There's a little bit left for the rubies. And then there's a tiny amount for the sapphires. Pearls and jades, you'll be lucky to make $100 a month, $150 a month, unless you're just out there selling to customers direct. And even with that, you might get 15%, right? A lot of times 10%. Sometimes you get 20%. We go up where to 50% with the free product credit, folks. But the bottom line is we understood, right? Let's just not build a table for the diamonds, right? Let's just not build a table for the double diamonds. Let's build a table where the emeralds can eat. Let's build a table where the rubies can eat. Let's build a table where, yes, even our sapphires can eat. Because the bottom line, guys, when you get into that crown jewel pool, we've looked at those average incomes. And to know that even at the sapphire level, we've seen $1,200 to $1,600 of income, guys. Again, that's unheard of. We've had companies where you have to build hundreds of people just to make $500 a month. Thousands of people just to make a couple $1,000s a month. To know that we've had people hit ruby in our company with 12, 13 distributors. We've had people hit diamond with barely 100 distributors, guys. That's called game over. That's a game changer. And we've truly built a table for everyone to eat, for those who want it. But you got to go out and do the work. You got to listen to the daily calls. You got to get booked for this upcoming conference. You got to make sure you're plugging in. Speaking of plugging in, your very next opportunity to plug in is this Saturday. We are hosting something special, guys. We're hosting something so amazing. We did our very first Pink Crush in 2018. So Pink Rush was a concept. It was a thought even before Wakana. It was created initially as the solution between the friction the owner and I had in that other company. There was a friction, there was a tension. And so Pink Rush became an outlet. Let's create something generic that we can own and control outside of him, that we can do something to empower women and have our own brand. And guess what? That's how Pink Rush initially manifested. When we go back to that initial event that we had, oh my goodness, I can remember it so clearly. It was just a moment in which we understood that this is absolutely a concept that we could take not just here in Chicago, around the country and around the world, because it's very similar to what we did for the Women of Wealth. When we did our Women of Wealth events, it was so special because it was a day to celebrate women, right? Women had a chance to really be celebrated, really be heard. And so, yes, we're going to educate about cannabis. Yes, people are going to want to get into the industry, but it's really about you as women, because as we kick off Women's History Month, we want also women to feel so empowered. We know that when you empower a woman, you empower families, you empower communities, you empower the world. And so, yes, expect to be pampered that day. Expect for your guests to be pampered that day. Men, we're going to give you an invite for those of you who want to connect. There's going to be an opportunity for you to attend as well, okay? But the deal is we have a special area for you. So we've got to know you're there too. And so what I want you to do is at least get a general admission ticket. And what we'll do is reserve for you product of that value. So it's really like coming for free, but because we have limited space, we need to know that you're actually on the list, okay? So you're going to have your, some boxes and a little product for the guys who are going to be in the man cave. So we got a man cave created for you guys as well. But in this man cave, it's going to be limited to about 12 seats. We already got 4 of those seats reserved. There's about 8 spots left in the man cave, okay? And the man cave, ladies, you're going to love it, because guess what? When we need some special assistance for the women, we're going to invite the men to come and do what? Do the work. So the guys are going to put you to work that day. So come there expecting to do some work, but you're going to have so much fun watching and pampering to the ladies. There's some special things we put it aside for the VIPs. I'm not going to spill the beans today. You're going to just have to come to experience it. But all I can tell you is when you walk through the property, when you come upstairs, you walk through those doors, the music's going to be playing, the lighting, the atmosphere, the energy is going to be there. It's going to be really designed to raise that frequency, raise the energy, to really help your mindset shift, to really help you know that this is your day. And we want you to just come, be empowered, be inspired as you listen to all these phenomenal trainers. And this is an event that I would invite leaders to. If you know anyone who's a networker, someone who wants to make money, people that are circle of influences, people that own businesses, I would invest in getting them there. Because what I can tell you is when I go back to that last Pink Rush, the first Pink Rush we had in 2018, if you knew the fruit that came from that event, you would be running so fast to get your ticket. Literally, here's what happened with that event. Everybody has heard of the phenomenal Shannon King, who helped my husband coordinate this beautiful surprise, right? But guess where she came from? Pink Rush. She came as a complete stranger, didn't have any connections in that room. She was there because she saw it on social media. In fact, we've already had 3 people who we don't know, have no connections with us, just 3 so far, but they bought tickets, guys, okay? What if one's a Shannon King? That's the power of events like this, guys. And so the bottom line, she walked into that event and she was so inspired to do something. She came with the intention of just doing her own thing. She wanted to learn about cannabis. She wanted to start her own company. But since then, guess what, guys? Not only did she become an Emerald director, she's now creating Diamond directors, Willie, Diamond Mooney, and Diamond. They're on her team, guys. But all of that wealth, right? We're talking about millions of dollars of sales came from one event. I mean, how exciting is that? To know that people can find out something like this, come get information, make a decision, and now become top leadership, right? And I'm telling you what, so many great connections came out of that one event. We knew that this is something we don't want to just do once. We want to repeat that event. And so you want to start thinking now of who you can invite. You want to share this with your friends. I believe right now we have just 5 VIP tickets left. It was 3, but we actually expanded it. So we now have 24 VIP tickets. We expanded it, which gave us now 5 more left. It was 1 more ticket actually this morning. So we had 1 left. I expanded it to 24. So there's 5 VIPs. And when we get to 24 VIPs, guess what? That's it. No one else can be a VIP, guys, because there's only so much capacity for the VIPs. We have our general admission tickets, okay? And there's still a few dozen of those left. We do anticipate that those are going to go, if not today, probably by tomorrow. So if you plan on being at this event, if you have an intention to get your family, your friends, the people that you've been trying to get them to see Wakana, but for whatever reason, they just don't seem to see it, this is the event that you want to get them to, because it's going to be very generic at first. Just great information, great empowering. We're going to teach on a multitude of subjects. And then at the end, we're going to invite them to stay and listen. For those who want to learn more about what the women who just conducted this event do, this is optional. You don't have to stay. You can go. But if you want to know what we do and how you can get into this industry for a fraction of the cost, you heard about people investing hundreds of thousands of dollars. You heard about opportunities that cost you millions. You heard about the fact that, yes, even though they said Illinois was social equity, and yes, you had about 60% of the applications that got approved have minority owners. Guess how many of those businesses got up and running, right? We're talking about 6%. Why? Because minorities, even when they give you a license, even when they say it's social equity, there's no equity, because guess what? You're not sitting around typically with millions of dollars to open up those stores, right? And so what happens, it still becomes the same old status quo. And so we can change that. We can be the change makers today. You can invite them to be at a table where we welcome them with open arms. You can invite them to be at a table where we encourage you to make more money than the CEO, the CSO, the CMO, and the CFO, right? Combined. And that's the power of being in an industry like this, guys. So I encourage you to get those tickets booked. I encourage you, if you've not booked conference, guys, those tickets are selling through the roof. You want to book the conference. If you're not a part of March Madness, you better be a part of March Madness, guys, because you want to be a part of a winning team. And it really starts with being coachable, being intentional. I know last night they had the draft. I was watching in. It was exciting. I heard a lot of trash talk, guys, but that's what the fun is. And last year during March, oh my goodness, they created so much momentum, so much excitement. And guess what happened, guys? People who had never had success in our business all of a sudden made money because they participated in March Madness. So stay plugged in. And so with that being said, guys, that is my time this morning. I want to also invite you to plug in to Zoom in with Wakana. That's happening right now. Plug in with our phenomenal trichologist, Doris Mosley, at 2:30 p.m. Central. Save our strands. Our corporate Zooms are happening every Monday. It starts off with DJ Dr. Roz at 7:30 p.m. Central, and then 8 o'clock presentation. We're having our Doctor's Edition call every Tuesday. Thank you, Dr. Betty, for holding it down. Every Tuesday at 8 p.m. Central, you can plug in. And it's been phenomenal. Oh, my goodness. I've been on that call every Tuesday, guys. If you're not getting your customers on that call, get your customers on that call. It is absolutely amazing. And so with that being said, we also want to invite you tomorrow for our Diamond Factory and for the rest of the week. And so I encourage you to go out and have a Wakana day. We're going to see you at the top, the very top, the tip top. Thank you so much, everyone.
One more thing, Melissa. Phenomenal call. You gave me credit for Shannon and Phyllis, but I was a supporting cast member. The other credits should go to Tara Shackelford. So I know you didn't overlook her.
Yes, and I know that. So Tara, thank you, girl. Thank you so much. But yes, Tara Shackelford, you are the bomb.com, girlfriend. We love you so much. And, charge it, to the fact that, hey, I have all this stuff in my head this morning.
I know.
And it's trying to come out. But love you all. It was just phenomenal. And Tara, I know you made many sacrifices to get there. A lot of things happen in your life. But love you all, and thank you so much. And thank you, Phyllis, for clarifying that, because I definitely don't want this call to go without me acknowledging my girl, Tara. So thank you, thank you, thank you.